Kim Tae-hyun pressed his face against the viewport of the scout ship Searcher *. His eyes were fixed on the strange object floating in the darkness of the asteroid belt. The ship's lights bounced off its dull metal surface. "Captain Park, you need to see this," Kim called over his shoulder, not taking his eyes off the find. Captain Park Geo floated over, gripping the handrails along the ceiling. He was a short man with a stern face that rarely showed emotion. But today, his eyebrows rose slightly. "What do you think it is?" the captain asked. "It's a ship. An alien ship. Very old," Kim said. His scanner beeped as it picked up faint energy readings. "And it's still active, somehow." The captain's comm unit buzzed. "Captain Park," said a cold voice, "this is Ambassador Tezel. Our scanners show you've stopped. The Galactic Alliance does not permit delays for personal exploration." The ambassador was a Veldorian, a tall blue-skinned alien with 4 eyes that never seemed to blink at the same time. He had been assigned to guide the human ship through Alliance space. Everyone knew he was really there to watch them. "We found something," Captain Park said. "A shipwreck." There was a pause. "Ah, collecting garbage again." The ambassador's voice dripped with scorn. "How very human of you." Kim bit his lip. The other alien races in the Alliance always treated humans like children. Humans had only joined the galactic community 50 years ago. The other races had been traveling the stars for thousands of years. "Request permission to salvage," Captain Park said, ignoring the insult. "It is worthless debris," Ambassador Tezel replied. "Our scans show no valuable technology. The Alliance has already catalogued and discarded such ancient wrecks. Continue your assigned path." Captain Park looked at Kim. His eyes asked a silent question. Kim nodded firmly. "There's something special here, Captain. The energy signature. I've never seen anything like it." Park turned off his comm unit. "Ambassador Tezel, we're bringing it aboard for study. It's within our rights under Salvage Code 15B. I strongly advise against." The captain cut the connection. He smiled at Kim. "You have 4 hours to prove your hunch before the ambassador makes this an official incident." Kim grinned. "I only need 2. The Searcher moved carefully alongside the wreck. It was about the size of a small shuttle, its hull covered in strange, swirling patterns that might have been writing or art. Parts of it were clearly missing, torn away in whatever accident had left it drifting here. Kim led the salvage team in their spacesuits. Up close, the wreck looked even worse. Cracked panels, exposed wiring, and strange crystalline components that glowed faintly from within. "This is Kim to bridge. Attaching tow cables now," he said into his helmet mic. As his gloved hand touched the hull, the surface seemed to ripple. A dim light pulsed beneath his palm. "It responded to me," Kim whispered in awe. Inside his helmet, Kim's face lit up with excitement. While others saw junk, he saw a mystery. While the Alliance saw trash, he saw treasure. 3 hours later, the wreck sat in the Searcher's cargo bay. Ambassador Tezel stood with his arms crossed. All 4 eyes narrowed in disapproval. "This is a waste of resources," the ambassador said. "This technology is primitive even by human standards." Kim ran his scanner over a section of the hull where strange symbols were etched. His device beeped rapidly. "Captain," Kim called out, excitement making his voice shake. "This isn't just any wreck. These markings, they match the legends of the archivists." The ambassador's blue skin paled to a light azure. "Impossible." Captain Park stepped forward. "The what?" "The most advanced civilization ever known," Kim explained, eyes shining. "They vanished 10,000 years ago. Their technology was said to be like magic." The ambassador was already backing away. "This must be reported to the Alliance immediately." But Kim barely heard him. His mind was already racing with possibilities. In what others saw as junk, he had found a piece of history. And maybe, just maybe, something that could change everything. 2 days later, The Searcher docked at Titan Station, humanity's largest outpost in the outer solar system. The massive ring-shaped station spun slowly against the backdrop of Saturn's rings, creating artificial gravity for its 10,000 residents. Kim Tae-hyun watched anxiously as robotic arms carefully moved the alien wreck from the ship's cargo bay into a large hangar. Despite Ambassador Tezel's protests, Captain Park had insisted the humans had salvage rights to study the find before handing anything over to the Alliance. "You have 1 week," Captain Park told Kim quietly. "After that, I cannot stop the Alliance from taking it." Kim nodded. "I understand, Captain. Thank you." The captain placed a hand on Kim's shoulder. "Make it count." As soon as the wreck was secured in the hangar, Kim called his friend Song Yuna. She was the best propulsion engineer on Titan Station, and the only person Kim trusted with something this important. Song arrived within the hour. She was short with practical hands and quick eyes. Her work jacket was covered in pockets filled with tools. "So this is the famous junk that has the ambassador throwing fits," she said, walking around the wreck. "It does not look like much." Kim grinned. "That's what makes it perfect. No one wants it but us." He led her to a section of the hull he had carefully cleaned. Under the grime of centuries, strange symbols glowed with a faint blue light. "It still has power," Kim explained. "After thousands of years." Som's eyes widened. She pulled a scanner from one of her many pockets and ran it over the symbols. "Impossible," she whispered. "These readings, this energy signature doesn't match anything in our database." "Exactly," Kim said. "And look at this." He pressed his palm against a panel. The metal rippled like water, and a section of the hull slid open to reveal a chamber filled with crystals and strange wire-like structures. "It responds to human touch," Kim explained. "The ambassador couldn't get it to open at all." Song's face lit up with excitement. "A biorecognition system that still works after all this time, and it accepts human patterns. How is that possible?" Kim shrugged. "Maybe we're more like the archivists than the other Alliance races." "The Alliance will never let us keep this," Song said, already pulling more tools from her pockets. "They'll claim it's too dangerous for primitive humans to handle." "Then we need to work fast," Kim replied. Captain Park visited them later that day. He looked troubled. "The ambassador has filed a formal complaint," he said. "Alliance inspectors will arrive in 6 days." "We need a private workshop," Kim said, "somewhere off the main station records." The captain was silent for a moment. Then he nodded. "There's an old storage bay in Section 12. It was damaged in the meteor shower last year. It's officially closed for repairs." "That's perfect," Kim said. That night, they moved the wreck piece by piece. Som brought 4 more engineers she trusted. No one asked questions when they saw the alien technology. They simply got to work. Unlike the Alliance races who relied on automated systems and AI for most of their engineering, humans still believed in working with their hands. It was a trait that other species mocked as primitive, but Kim knew it gave them an advantage. Humans could improvise. They could see connections that machines missed. 3 days later, the workshop in Section 12 hummed with activity. The wreck had been completely disassembled. Parts were sorted on tables and hanging from the ceiling. In the center of it all stood the power core, a sphere of crystal and metal that glowed with blue-white light. It floated above a makeshift stand, defying gravity. "It's beautiful," Song whispered as she and Kim stared at the core. "And still functioning at 20% capacity after who knows how long," Kim added. Song looked at the scattered parts around them. But what was it for? What did this ship do? As if in answer, the core pulsed brightly. The light formed patterns in the air, stars, planets, and what looked like a weapon firing. Kim and Song looked at each other in amazement. "I think," Kim said slowly, "we just found the key to saving humanity." Kim Tae-hyun had not slept in 2 days. His eyes were red, but he could not stop working. The power core from the alien wreck was unlike anything humans had ever seen. It produced energy without fuel, heat without fire. You need rest, Song Yumha said, handing him a cup of coffee. Kim shook his head. The Alliance inspectors will be here tomorrow. We need to understand this technology before they take it. Song sighed. Then we need help. I called Lee Minja. Kim looked up in surprise. The Sino-historian. Can we trust him? We have no choice, Song said. He knows more about ancient aliens than anyone on Titan Station. An hour later, Lee Minja stood in their secret workshop. He was tall and thin with careful hands and thoughtful eyes. He moved slowly around the parts of the alien ship, touching nothing at first, just looking. These symbols, Lee said finally, pointing to the markings on a curved piece of metal. They match stories of the archivists. We thought so too, Kim said eagerly. But what were the archivists? The Alliance database has almost nothing about them. Lee's eyes lit up with excitement, because the Alliance fears them, even now. The archivists were the most advanced race in the galaxy, 10,000 years ago. Then they vanished overnight. What happened to them? Song asked. Lee shrugged. No one knows. Some say they evolved beyond physical form. Others believe they destroyed themselves with their own technology. He walked to the power core, which still floated above its stand, pulsing with blue-white light. May I? He asked, gesturing toward it. Kim nodded. Lee held his hands near the core, not touching it. The archivists used energy in ways no one has matched since. They could bend space, control gravity, even alter time in small areas. The core seemed to respond to his words. It pulsed faster, and the light formed new patterns in the air. This time, they saw what looked like a ship. It fired a beam that seemed to distort the space around its target. A weapon, Song whispered. Not just any weapon, Lee said, his voice filled with awe. This was a prototype defense vessel. The archivists wrote about it in their few surviving texts. They called it the Reality Shaper. It was meant to create bubbles of altered space-time, as shields or weapons. But if it was so powerful, why was it abandoned? Kim asked. Lee studied the patterns more carefully. The records say they could never solve the stability problem. The power required would tear the ship apart after a single use. Kim thought about this. What if that's why it responds to humans? We had our own energy crisis on Earth last century. Song nodded eagerly. The climate change crisis. We had to develop alternative energy that worked differently from anything before. Exactly, Kim said. When other races were already in space, humans were finding ways to make energy without destroying our planet. We tried thousands of approaches until we found ones that worked. Lee looked between them. You think humans might solve what the archivists couldn't? Kim walked to a table covered with sketches and calculations. I've been studying the core's energy patterns. They're complex, but not impossible to understand. The archivists were trying to contain too much power in one moment. He showed them a new design he had drawn. But what if we cycle the energy? Release it in pulses rather than all at once. Song's eyes widened as she understood, like a heartbeat instead of an explosion. Lee looked stunned. That might actually work. The core pulsed brightly, as if agreeing with them. The light patterns change, showing the ship whole again, functioning without breaking apart. We need to rebuild it, Kim said. Not just study it, but make it work. The Alliance will never allow that, Lee warned. Kim looked at his friends with determination in his eyes. Then we don't tell them. Outside their workshop, the station's emergency alarms began to sound. The emergency alarms wailed throughout Titan Station. Red lights flashed in every corridor. Kim, Song, and Lee ran from their secret workshop toward the main control center. They found Captain Park standing before a large screen. His face was grim. Around him, station staff rushed back and forth, their voices tight with fear. What's happening? Kim asked. The captain pointed to the screen. It showed a star map of nearby systems. Red dots were moving across it. The Kirith Dominion has broken through the Alliance defense line in the Proxima system, Captain Park said. 3 Alliance worlds have already fallen. Kim felt cold fear in his stomach. Everyone had heard of the Kirith, a warrior race from the Outer Rim. They attacked without warning and showed no mercy. How long until they reach us? Song asked. 4 days, maybe 5, the captain answered. The Alliance fleet is in retreat. The doors slid open and Ambassador Tezel entered. The Veldorian's blue skin looked pale, and all 4 of his eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of extreme stress among his people. Captain Park, the ambassador said, I have orders from Alliance High Command. All essential personnel must evacuate immediately. Transport ships will arrive in 3 hours. Essential personnel? Lee asked. What does that mean? The ambassador barely looked at him. Scientists, diplomats, and those with valuable technical knowledge that must be preserved. You mean non-humans, Kim said flatly. The ambassador blinked his upper eyes. The Alliance cannot risk losing certain expertise. Some priorities must be set. Captain Park stepped forward. This is my station, Ambassador. No one evacuates unless I give the order. Captain, be reasonable, the ambassador said. The Kirath will destroy this station. They have weapons beyond human understanding. This is our home, the captain replied. We will defend it. The ambassador made a sound of frustration. With what? Your primitive weapons. Your handful of patrol ships. Kim shared a look with Song and Lee. They were all thinking the same thing. Captain, Kim said quietly, we need to talk to you. In private. A few minutes later, they stood in the captain's office. Kim quickly explained what they had discovered about the Archivist ship and its power core. You believe you can make it work? Captain Park asked. Turn this wreck into a weapon. Not just a weapon, Song said. The most powerful ship this part of the galaxy has seen in 10,000 years. The captain was silent for a long moment. How long would it take? 4 days, Kim said. Maybe 5. The captain almost smiled. The same timeline as the Kirith arrival. It's a long shot, Lee admitted. The technology is beyond anything we've worked with before. But you think it's possible? Kim nodded firmly. Humans are good at making things work, Captain. Even things no one else can fix. Captain Park stood up. Then do it. I'll handle the ambassador. We'll need help, Song said. More engineers, materials, equipment. You'll have it, the captain promised. Everything we can spare. Back in the control center, the ambassador was waiting impatiently. Captain, the evacuation ships. There will be no evacuation, Captain Park interrupted. Anyone who wishes to leave may do so, but Titan Station stands and fights. The ambassador's face darkened. This is madness. You doom your people to die for nothing. For nothing. The captain's voice was steel. This station is humanity's foothold in the outer system. We built it with our hands, piece by piece. We will not abandon it. Then I wash my hands of you, the ambassador said. The Alliance cannot save those who refuse to be saved. After the ambassador stormed out, Captain Park turned to Kim and his friends. You have 4 days, he said quietly. Make them count. Kim nodded. As they hurried back to their workshop, his mind was already racing with plans. They would need to completely rebuild the Archivist ship, turn ancient, broken parts into something new, something powerful. The humans of Titan Station were about to show the galaxy what they could do with a pile of junk. The next morning, Hangar Bay 7 bustled with activity. Captain Park had cleared the entire space for Kim's project. Word had spread quickly throughout Titan Station. Humans who chose to stay and fight wanted to help. Kim stood on a raised platform, looking at the crowd of engineers, mechanics, and technicians waiting for his instructions. He had never led such a large team before. His throat felt dry. We have less than 4 days to build something that can save our home, Kim began. His voice shook at first, then grew stronger. We're going to rebuild an Archivist ship, the most advanced technology ever created. A voice called from the crowd. The archivists couldn't make it work. What makes you think we can? Because we're human, Kim said simply. When something breaks, we fix it. When something fails, we try again. That's what humans do. The crowd nodded. It was their way. Song stepped forward with diagrams and plans. We need to build a new hull around the archivist power core. The original design couldn't handle the energy output, but we've modified it. A tall man with strong hands raised his arm. I'm Choi Hyunwoo. I worked on military ships before coming to Titan. I can help design weapons systems. Kim nodded gratefully. Welcome aboard. Soon, teams formed naturally. People found the tasks that matched their skills. Some broke apart old mining ships for parts. Others adapted station equipment to build new components. The archivist power core floated in the center of the hangar, pulsing with blue-white light. Kim and Song carefully built a new containment system around it, using materials no one had ever combined before. The Alliance would say this is impossible, Song said, wiping sweat from her forehead. They'd run 1,000,000 simulations first. Kim smiled as he connected a power line. That's why we'll succeed. We don't have time for simulations. We have to make it work the first time. By the end of the first day, they had a basic frame. It looked nothing like the original archivist ship. This new vessel was broader, stronger, built to human specifications. Lee Min-jae worked with a team to decipher more of the archivist symbols. Each discovery helped them understand the technology better. The archivists tried to control the energy directly. Lee explained to Kim. That's why their ships kept failing. Kim nodded. But we're doing it differently. We're working with the energy, not against it. On the second day, they installed the propulsion system. Song had designed it based on Earth's old fusion engines, but modified to work with the archivist power core. It will move faster than anything in the Alliance fleet, she said proudly. Choi Hyunwoo's weapons team worked around the clock. They built gravity pulse cannons that could tear through Karath shields. The Karath expect traditional weapons, Choi explained. Energy beams, missiles. This will confuse their battle computers. By the third day, the ship looked less like a pile of parts and more like a real vessel. It was unlike anything humans had built before, a blend of archivist technology and human innovation. Kim worked without rest, solving problems as they arose. When the power core's energy threatened to overload their new systems, he devised a cycling method that released the energy in controlled pulses. This is what the archivists missed, he told Song. They tried to contain all the power at once. We're letting it breathe. On the morning of the fourth day, Captain Park visited the hangar. He stared in amazement at the ship taking shape before him. Does it have a name? He asked. Kim hadn't thought about it. He looked at the ship, built from ancient parts and human determination, about to face an overwhelming enemy. Phoenix, he said finally, because it rose from the ashes. The captain nodded. Perfect. An alarm sounded throughout the station. The captain's comm unit buzzed urgently. They're here, he said grimly. The Karath fleet has arrived, a full day early. Kim looked at the ship. It was nearly complete, but not quite ready. We need more time, he said. The captain shook his head. There is no more time. Red emergency lights flashed throughout Titan Station. On the main view screen, the Karath fleet appeared as dozens of sharp, black shapes against the stars. Their ships looked like claws, ready to tear the station apart. In Hangar Bay 7, Kim Tae-hyun and his team worked frantically to finish the Phoenix. We need 2 more hours, Song shouted over the alarm. Captain Park's voice came through the station speakers. All civilians to the central shelters. Defense teams to your positions. Kim wiped sweat from his eyes and kept working. The Phoenix's hull was complete, but the weapons systems weren't fully connected yet. The gravity pulse cannons hung from the ceiling by cables, waiting to be installed. We can't wait, Kim decided. We'll have to finish the weapons in space. The hangar doors suddenly slid open. Ambassador Tezel strode in, flanked by 4 Alliance security officers. Their uniforms were crisp and clean, unlike the oil-stained clothes of the human workers. "This activity ends now," the ambassador announced, "by order of Alliance High Command." Kim stepped forward. "We're building a ship to defend the station. Your station too, Ambassador." "I see what you're building," Tezel said coldly, all 4 of his eyes fixed on the glowing power core at the center of the Phoenix. "You've kept archivist technology from the Alliance. That is a serious violation." Captain Park entered the hangar, walking quickly to stand between the ambassador and Kim's team. "The Alliance abandoned us," the captain said. "We're defending ourselves with the resources we have." The ambassador pointed at the Phoenix. "That is not a resource. It is a relic of the most dangerous civilization in galactic history. It belongs to the Alliance." Actually, Li Ninja stepped forward with a data pad. "According to Treaty Article 47, Section 12, only intact archivist artifacts fall under Alliance jurisdiction." The ambassador blinked in confusion. "What are you talking about?" Li held up the data pad, showing the treaty text. "This ship is not an intact artifact. It's a human creation built around an archivist power core. We designed it. We built it. It's ours." The ambassador's face darkened to deep blue with anger. "This is outrageous. You twist the treaty for your own benefit. Just like the Alliance twisted the evacuation orders to leave humans behind." Song asked quietly. The ambassador had no answer for that. A loud boom shook the station. Lights flickered, and people grabbed onto whatever was nearby to stay standing. "The Kirith have fired their first volley," Captain Park said grimly. "Our shields won't last long against their weapons." The ambassador looked torn. He stared at the Phoenix with obvious desire, but the sound of another explosion seemed to make his decision. "Very well," he said finally. "Use your creation. But when this is over, the Alliance will determine its fate." "Fair enough," Kim said. "First, we have to survive." The ambassador turned to leave, then paused. "You really think that pile of junk can stand against a Kirith battle fleet?" Kim smiled. "It's not what something looks like that matters, Ambassador. It's what it can do." After the ambassador left, Kim gathered his team. "We launch in 30 minutes. We need a crew." "I'll pilot," Song volunteered immediately. "I'll handle communications," said a woman named Yoonju, who had helped build the interface systems. Choi Hyunwoo stepped forward. "Weapons are my specialty." In the end, they had a crew of 7. The minimum needed to operate the Phoenix. None of them had ever flown a combat mission before. Captain Park looked at them with pride in his eyes. "The fate of Titan Station rests with you now." "No pressure," Kim said with a nervous laugh. As they made final preparations, the archivist power core pulsed with bright blue light. It seemed stronger now, more stable within its human-designed housing. Kim placed his hand on the core's container. "Work with us," he whispered to it. "Help us save our home." The core flashed once, as if in response. 20 minutes later, the Phoenix hovered in the hangar, ready for launch. It looked strange. Parts of mining ships mixed with station equipment and the ancient archivist technology. Some sections still had warning labels and serial numbers from their original uses. To most eyes, it would look like a pile of junk cobbled together by desperate people. But to Kim and his crew, it was hope. The station shook again with another Kirith attack. "Open the bay doors," Kim ordered. "It's time to show the galaxy what humans can do." The Phoenix shot out of Titan Station's hangar bay. Kim sat in the captain's chair, his hands gripping the armrests tightly. The ship vibrated around them, still not fully tested. "Weapons status?" Kim asked. Choi Hyunwoo worked quickly at his station. "Gravity pulse cannons at 60%. We're still connecting the final power couplings." "Will they work?" Kim needed to know. Choi smiled grimly. "They'll work. They just might blow up after we fire them." Through the view screen, Kim saw the Kirith fleet. 20 large battle cruisers shaped like black arrowheads. Dozens of smaller fighter ships swarmed around them like angry insects. "They spotted us," Yunju reported from communications. "They're laughing at us. Their commander is sending a message to all ships to watch the human junk heap try to fight." Kim nodded. "Good. Let them underestimate us." Song Yunha's hands flew across the pilot controls, ready to engage main drive. "Everyone hold on tight." Kim pressed the comm button. "Titan Station. This is Phoenix. We're moving to intercept the Kirith fleet." Captain Park's voice came back. "Good luck, Phoenix. Give them hell." Kim looked at the Archivist power core, now integrated into the center of the bridge. It pulsed with blue-white light, stronger than ever. "Engage," Kim ordered. Song activated the drive. The Phoenix shot forward at impossible speed. The sudden acceleration pushed everyone back in their seats. "It works," Song shouted with joy. "We're moving 3 times faster than our calculations predicted." The Kirith noticed too. Their smaller ships began to turn toward the Phoenix. "They're sending fighters to deal with us," Choi reported. "They still don't consider us a real threat." Kim smiled. "Let's change their minds. Prepare the gravity weapons." The Phoenix dove straight toward the first Kirith cruiser. Enemy fighters fired energy beams that mostly missed the fast-moving ship. "Now," Kim ordered when they were in range. Choi fired the gravity pulse cannons. The energy from the Archivist core surged through the weapons. Rings of distorted space shot out from the Phoenix, visible as ripples in the darkness. The effects were immediate and devastating. The gravity pulses hit the Kirith cruiser and twisted the space around it. Metal screamed as the ship's hull bent in impossible ways. Fighters caught in the effect were crushed like paper. "Direct hit," Choi shouted. Their shields failed completely. On Titan Station, humans watched in amazement. The view screens showed the Phoenix moving impossibly fast, firing weapons that bent reality itself. In the Alliance observation deck, Ambassador Tesla stood with his mouth open in shock. "Impossible," he whispered. "They made it work." The Phoenix turned to face the next Kirith ship, but now the enemy took them seriously. All cruisers turned their main weapons toward the human vessel. "They're targeting us with everything they have," Yoon warned. "Incoming fire." Song's hands danced across the controls. The Phoenix rolled and twisted, avoiding most of the enemy fire. But one beam struck their left side. The ship shook violently. Warning lights flashed on the bridge. "Damage report," Kim called out. "Hull breach in Section 4, Lee reported. "Automatic seals engaged." "Can we still fight?" Kim asked. The Archivist core pulsed brightly, and the ship's systems stabilized. "The core is compensating," Song said with wonder. "It's adapting to the damage." Kim felt a moment of connection with the ancient technology. It wanted to survive, just like them. "All power to weapons," he ordered. "Let's show the Kirith what humans and Archivists can do together." The Phoenix charged forward again. This time, when they fired the gravity weapons, the effect was even stronger. 3 Kirith cruisers twisted and broke apart in seconds. The Kirith fleet began to pull back. Their formations scattered as they tried to escape the strange weapons they had never seen before. "They're retreating," Yoon announced. Cheers erupted on the bridge. But Kim noticed the power core was pulsing faster, almost frantically. "Something's wrong," he said. The ship suddenly lurched sideways. The lights flickered, and a high-pitched whine filled the air. "The core is overloading," Song reported, her voice tight with worry. "The power cycling system can't keep up." Kim looked at his friends, at the ship they had built from junk, at the enemy they had driven back. "One last push," he said quietly. "Then we head home." Warning alarms blared throughout the Phoenix. The Archivist power core pulsed with bright, dangerous light. Cracks appeared in its containment field, leaking blue energy onto the bridge. "Core temperature rising," Song shouted over the noise. "The cycling system is failing." Kim moved quickly to the core's control panel. This was exactly what had happened to the original Archivist ship. Too much power with nowhere to go. "We need to release the energy," Kim said, "or it will tear us apart." "How?" Choi asked. "The weapons are already at maximum." Kim thought fast. The Archivists had tried to contain the energy. Humans had tried to cycle it. But now, they needed something new. "We need to share it," Kim said suddenly. He pointed to the retreating Kireth ships. "Target their command vessel, but modify the gravity pulse. Don't crush, connect." Choi looked confused but adjusted the settings. "Ready. Fire," Kim ordered. The Phoenix shot one last pulse. Instead of destroying the Kirith command ship, it created a bridge of energy between the two vessels. The excess power from the Phoenix flowed across space into the enemy ship. The Kirith ship's engines flared bright blue, then failed. It drifted helplessly. On the Phoenix, the core's pulsing slowed. The warnings quieted. It worked. Song said in amazement, core temperature dropping to safe levels. "Head for Titan Station," Kim ordered. "Let's go home." The Phoenix limped back to the station. Parts of its hull were blackened from enemy fire. Some systems sparked and failed. But it had won. The Kirith fleet disappeared into the darkness of space, defeated by a ship built from junk. When the crew stepped out of the Phoenix into Hangar Bay 7, the entire station was waiting. Hundreds of humans cheered and applauded. Captain Park stood at the front, his normally serious face split by a wide smile. But Kim noticed Ambassador Tezel and several Alliance officials waiting to the side. Their faces showed a mix of awe and concern. The ambassador approached. "That was impressive," he admitted. "The Alliance Council is most interested in your ship." "I'm sure they are," Kim said. The ambassador's 4 eyes blinked one after another. "We would like to study it. For the good of the Alliance, of course." Captain Park stepped forward. "The Phoenix is human property, Ambassador, built by human hands. With Archivist technology," the ambassador countered. Li Ninja joined them, datapad in hand, which, as I pointed out earlier, is not covered by the treaty when incorporated into a new design. The ambassador looked frustrated. "The Alliance has superior facilities, superior scientists, but not superior engineers," Kim interrupted gently. "That's what you're really after, isn't it? Not just the ship, but how we made it work when the Archivists couldn't." The ambassador had no answer. 3 days later, the Alliance Council held an emergency session on Titan Station. Kim and his team were invited to speak. The council chamber was filled with representatives from 20 different species. Kim stood before them, still wearing his work clothes with oil stains on the sleeves. "Humans are new to the stars," Kim began. "We don't have the history or advanced technology that many of you do, but we bring something different. Where you see broken things, we see potential. Where you discard the old, we rebuild." He pointed to the Phoenix, visible through the chamber's large windows. It was a pile of junk until humans turned it into a war machine. Not because we love war, but because we love our home enough to defend it. The Council voted unanimously to create the Phoenix Protocol, a new initiative to let humans salvage and repurpose abandoned technology throughout Alliance space. 6 months later, Kim stood in a new workshop on Titan Station. The Alliance had built it specially for his team. On the main table sat another piece of ancient technology, recently discovered and considered useless by Alliance archaeologists. Kim ran his hand over its surface. It hummed in response. Song joined him, smiling. "What do you think? Another pile of junk?" Kim grinned. "No such thing. Just something waiting for humans to show what it can be." Outside the window, the Phoenix floated in dock, repaired and improved. Once a discarded wreck, now the pride of humanity and a legend throughout the galaxy. Not bad for a pile of junk.